Today we will be discussing the key concepts in the blockchain ecosystem: binary tree, Merkle tree, and the blockchain workflow. Knowing these terms will enable you to gain a better understanding of how blockchain technology works. Let's talk about the binary trees before we go into Merkle trees. Binary trees, as the name implies, resembles trees by their structure, where each node can have up to 2 children. They are often used to show a hierarchy and implement search algorithms. We have a root node, which can branch out to 2 children, called branches. These branches can in turn have their own children. If branch does not have any children, it's called leaf node. Why the binary tree concept? To find a specific item in a list, you have to check each item until you'll find the one you need. This can take a while, especially if the list is long and you have to look through everything. If the list is stored in a binary tree, you can search for the item by a following path down the tree. This is called binary search, and it's much faster than checking each item one by one. A type of binary tree that is particularly noteworthy is the binary search tree, BST. With a BST, a left child of a given node will have a smaller value, while the right child will have the larger value. This arrangement enables swift search operations since we can cut the tree in half with every step by comparing the search key with the node's value. For example, the root has the value of 8. Then we have 2 branches. As you can see, the left child is 4, while the right is 12, which is greater than the left child and root. The same logic here. This rule applies to all nodes until the leaf nodes are reached. Now let's introduce Merkle trees. The Merkle tree is the tree-like data structure used in cryptography to ensure security by checking the integrity of the large amounts of data. The main difference from the binary tree is that the Merkle tree uses hashes instead of numbers. The Merkle tree is constructed by recursively hashing pairs of data until a single hash, known as the Merkle root, is obtained. To construct a Merkle tree, we first hash each transaction using a hashing algorithm like SHA-256. Then we group the hashed transactions into pairs and hash them again. This process continues until we reach a single root hash, as I said, known as the Merkle root, that is included in the block header. Have you ever wondered why the Merkle tree structure is so important, especially in the context of the Bitcoin blockchain? Well, Merkle trees play a crucial role in securely verifying blocks of transactions in the Bitcoin blockchain. Bitcoin uses Merkle trees to verify the integrity of blocks and transactions without transferring the entire blockchain. Merkle trees allow for efficient verification of blocks without the need to transfer and store the entire block. Currently, the Bitcoin blockchain is around 500 gigabytes in size. With this number increasing every day, it would be a daunting task to store and transmit all the individual hash values for each transaction without the use of compact Merkle root. Merkle trees possess a valuable property known as the Merkle proof, which optimizes data savings when verifying whether a transaction is present within the tree. Let's explore this concept further with the help of a diagram showcasing the information required to check if transaction TX5, marked green here, is part of the Merkle tree. In this scenario, knowing the hashes in the blue boxes is sufficient. The values in the yellow framed boxes can be computed using provided information. Ultimately, one compares the Merkle root with the result of their own calculation. If they match, the transaction is confirmed to be included in the tree. This property significantly conserves bandwidth during transaction verification and when requesting transaction data from nodes. Moreover, It ensures privacy since no additional transaction data is needed for the verification process. The use of cryptographic hash functions in Merkle trees guarantees that the altering the content afterwards becomes infeasible due to the collision-free property of these hash functions. This enhances the overall security and the integrity of the blockchain network. Now, let's take another look on Merkle trees and how they're used and their significance. First, in blockchain, each block of transaction is hashed, and hashes are placed in the tree structure called Merkle tree. The root hash of this tree is included in the block header, allowing the verification of the transactions without needing to transfer the whole block. When a new block is added, the root hash of the previous Merkle tree blocks are also included in the new block header, creating a chain of root hashes. Merkle tree proved to be efficient in verifying the integrity of the block's transactions and the entire blockchain, as only the root hashes of the blocks need to be compared. By utilizing Merkle trees, blockchain networks can ensure trustworthiness of their transaction data and simplify the verification process. Let's dive into a workflow of blockchain. We'll go over how it operates, the different types of nodes, blockchain forks, and the various transactions involved. To begin, nodes in the blockchain network are devices or computers that aid in maintaining the distributed ledger and ensuring the network's integrity. They play a vital role in verifying and recording transactions, which enhances the blockchain's security. By collaborating and engaging in the network, nodes decentralize the blockchain, making it resistant to tampering or censorship. Let's find out more on nodes here. A full node maintains a complete copy of the blockchain ledger. It stores all the transactions and blocks from the Genesis block, which is the first block in the chain, to the most recent one. Full nodes validate and enforce the rules of the blockchain protocol, ensuring the accuracy and integrity of the entire network. There are a few types of full nodes that might be helpful to know in particular. Validator nodes. They play an important role in the consensus mechanism by confirming the validity of transactions and suggesting new blocks for inclusion in the blockchain. They actively engage in reaching a consensus with other nodes, contributing significantly to the overall agreement on the blockchain. There are also witness and archive nodes out there. Witness nodes handle witness consensus, replicate data, and propagate transactions. Archive nodes, on the other hand, specialize in storing a detailed historical record of the blockchain, retaining all past transactions and states for auditing, research, and analysis purposes. How are transactions executed in the blockchain network? Transactions are carried out through wallets, which store keys and facilitate sending and receiving of digital currency. When a transaction is initiated, the wallet connects to a node and broadcasts the transaction. After verification, the transaction becomes part of the blockchain, ensuring its accuracy and the current status. Nodes record and share the transaction to maintain the blockchain's security and integrity. When transaction is requested, it is broadcasted across peer-to-peer network of nodes. The transaction undergoes validation involving various types of records like cryptocurrencies or smart contracts. Once validated, the transaction joins the other transactions to create a new block. This new block containing the verified transaction is permanently added to the blockchain, ensuring it cannot be altered. The transaction is complete. But where do we keep these transactions until they are picked up by one of the miners? To figure this out, we must first understand transaction pools. So, unconfirmed transactions are temporarily stored in the transaction pool, which is also known as the memory pool or mempool. This pool keeps track of transactions that are waiting to be included in the next block. Whenever a transaction is broadcasted to the network, nodes receive it and add it to the transaction pool. Miners then select transactions from the pool to include them in the next block. Once a transaction is included in a block and added to the blockchain, it is considered confirmed. The blockchain network temporarily holds transactions in the transaction pool until miners incorporate them into a block. This process actually plays a vital role in maintaining, once again, the integrity and the security of the blockchain. So transactions go into a transaction pool for miners to process. Miners diligently work to find the correct nonce value, which is a crucial component in creating a new block. Once a miner discovers a valid nonce value, the newly formed block is sent to all nodes in the network. Only then it is added to the blockchain. Subsequently, miners begin their work on this latest block, striving to solve complex mathematical problems and earn rewards. The collective efforts of miners ensure the continuous growth and the security of the blockchain network. In the context of the blockchain technology, a fork occurs when blockchain network's transaction history diverges into two or more paths. This can happen due to various reasons, such as simultaneous block creation by different miners or deliberate upgrades to the network's protocol. A temporary fork happens when two miners solve the proof-of-work puzzle at the same time. The network chooses the longest version of the blockchain to make sure it's reliable and trustworthy. This makes sure only correct blocks are added to the blockchain and it stays safe. Blockchain networks can also have two types of forks: hard forks and soft forks. A hard fork happens when the network upgrades and makes a new blockchain with different rules. This can be because of disagreements or a need for new features. During a hard fork, the network splits into two separate, incompatible blockchains, each with its own rules. On the other hand, a soft fork is the backward compatible update of the blockchain network. It is utilized to introduce new features or make minor adjustments to the network. Unlike the hard fork, it does not generate a distinct, incompatible blockchain. Even nodes that have not yet been updated can still operate within the network during the programmatic operation. Moving on, let's explore the types of transactions: public and private transactions. Public transactions are initially stored in the transaction pool, awaiting confirmation. When you initiate the public transaction, it enters the transaction pool and awaits selection by miners. Once a miner selects the transaction, they validate it before adding it to the blockchain. On the other hand, private transactions are directly set to miners or validators without being stored in the transaction pool. This bypasses the transaction logic, sending the transaction directly to the miners or validators. Alright, we hope this information has been helpful for you, and stay tuned for our next videos.